Hi, I'm Susan Kennard, and welcome to the Spiritual Awakener podcast. This is a podcast where I get to meet incredible people who have had turning points or spiritual awakenings in their life that's led them to understand so much more about who they are and how they then help the collective, people just like you and I. So I'm really pleased today and really excited to interview my next guest, and her name is Rosenberg. Lauren, thank you so much for being here on the Spiritual Awakener. How are you today?
I'm okay, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes.
You're welcome. We go a little bit way back, don't we, Lauren? But
Yes,
tell me,
quite a few years. Yeah.
It's several years, isn't it? It's several years. How many years?
Quite a few years. And I went on one of your training with Liora.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
I
how we
think
met.
that might have been. Was that Sparkle to Success, or was that?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it was Sparkle, something like that. Sparkle.
It was Sparkle. Yeah. I think.
Yeah.
Something. So
Yeah, that was
good.
several years ago, definitely. Yeah. And so, Lauren, obviously, I know you and I know Liora, and we'll talk about her a bit in a minute. But tell me, what do you feel was something that was a turning point for you, and what can you tell our audience? Obviously, I know you and I know a bit of your life, but if you can tell the audience what your real turning point was in your spiritual awakening.
So okay, so basically I'm just a normal mum, looking after 5 daughters and running a house, and also working as a fear and phobia relief expert. And unfortunately,
Lauren is a fear and phobia expert. Okay, so I just want to say that clearly, just in case you didn't hear it. Okay, and we'll be giving details later.
So I enjoy getting rid of people's fear and phobia. And then one day our life was turned upside down. So I went shopping. I was shopping with Liora and one of her sister, buying some artwork.
Tell us who Liora is. Just tell everybody who Liora is.
So Liora is my oldest daughter, and she was one of the, I think she was the youngest therapist in the UK, because she qualified really early in EFT at the age of 18, and also eye movement therapy and emotrance, and she was very into energy technique.
Theta
loved
healing.
Going into theta healing, and loved going on to training and learning more about energy and how she could help herself and ages. And in fact, the day that she was rushed into hospital, 3 hours before, we went to Tiger to buy some art and craft and paint, because she wanted to do another painting. So behind me,
and we just say that for the purpose, so some of you will be watching this on video, because it will be on my YouTube channel and across social media, and Lauren's as well. But if you're listening to this on iTunes or Stitcher or another podcast platform, then there is a painting behind, which is really beautiful. Let's just describe it a little bit, shall we, Lauren? For those people that can't see, because they're listening audio-wise.
Should I let you to describe it, because I'm so used to I'm so used to see it.
I can see it as 3 faces.
It's actually
abstract, isn't it? It's quite abstract.
It's actually, I mean, this is one of the painting. There was sort of a project in school, so it's actually in my book. You can see the beginning of the project, and you can see the end picture, which you have the end behind me. I kept this picture in my house because originally I had it in my clinic, but it's a bit, it can be a little bit scary if you have little children coming in. I have plenty. I mean, Liora did loads and loads of painting. She was hoping one day to have an art gallery or to do an art exhibition, which we actually did once. We actually copied some of her artwork and did an art gallery, and many people came to see it. One painting actually has been bought by someone who is quite a big singer, So and
amazing.
the original that's the original that I have in my office, actually, because
Yeah,
it's just a nice, like it's just like a it's
a
it's a
reminder.
different, yeah, it's a different picture, and everybody likes it because it's like a lots of sparkle colors, and so I swapped. I gave the picture that we really liked in my office. And
So just track
we
back
like
a
that
little
one too.
bit. So just track back a little bit, Lauren, to Liora. So so that turning point, so you were shopping with her, you'd been to an art place to get some more, kind of things so she could make some more
Yeah,
art. She's
yeah.
very creative.
The project was home comes. I think she wanted to do a painting, and I think it says home comes from happiness come from home or something. She wanted to
Bless her.
do something like that.
So what
So we
happened?
came home, and she started preparing these things to paint, and I was just busy with the kids, and I usually on that day I used to take my 8-year-old to gymnastic lessons. So and usually I usually stay, and this time for some reason I didn't stay. I came home and I dropped my 8-year-old. I came back. I spent more time with Liora, with the kids. I think it was the first day, Easter holidays, and so I spent more time with her. And for some reason, I mean, it was probably meant
You
to
were
be.
guided to
And
do that, yeah.
exactly. And then I left again to collect my daughter with one of Leo's sister. And as I was collecting Miri, my phone rang, so my other daughter picked up the phone, and Leo was saying, "I'm not feeling well. Can you come home?" So I came home, and she looked okay. We didn't think it was major, but then I just had this sort of feeling. I don't know, intuition. So I rang. We have where we live a charity ambulance, and they within 5 minutes you ring them, and within 5 minutes they just turn up. So I
Amazing.
thought, I'm not going to take a chance. She was talking a little bit funny. I thought, okay, I'll just call them. So I called them. They came. They didn't really think that she needed to be taken in, but I had a feeling, and I said, look, there's something, I can't explain it, but there's something. And then so they took her in, and while she was in ambulance, she starting not fainting, but like not quite with it. There was something not quite right. And then unfortunately later on they found that she had a slight bleed in the brain. But unfortunately she caught pneumonia in hospital, and died from pneumonia by aspiration 12 days later. So for 12 days we stayed in hospital. I didn't leave.
I remember.
And I did ring you, and I did ask, and we tried to move everything we could.
And we connected with her, and we connected into her consciousness, into her soul, and she was there.
She was very much there.
She just
needed more time, and basically we didn't have the time. We lost that court case, and it was meant to be. I'm not. It was meant to be. This was a journey.
How old was she?
She was
Lauren,
20.
just tell everybody how old she was.
She was 20 years old.
20 years old.
This was her journey, and she's still carrying on a journey. She's very much so, very present in people's life, but in a different way. And she's. People ask me, and when people ring me because they unfortunately lost a child, and they sometimes they say, oh, when you ask them, well, do you have any sibling? I mean, any other children? And they always say, like, they don't count the one that some of them I've realized don't count the one that passed away. I always say I have 5 children. I have one slightly in a different space, lane, and for others, I'll always have 5. She's just no longer in her body. She's not. The way that everybody knew her has changed, but she's still very much here, and that's the way I see it. But to get to that level, you have to be open to energy. You have to be open to trust that this physical world that we're in is not just this. There's more.
And so for anybody listening now, if you're going through this situation, or you may have gone through a situation where you lost a child, or even a loved one of any description, really, and at the moment there's quite a few people passing over.
Yeah.
If you are going through that, listening to Lauren's story now that we're talking about, we're hoping that this will give you some hope, to help you realize that life goes on, that, you know, it's just almost like a doorway, isn't it, Lauren? It's
Yeah.
a
So
doorway.
you can't change the fact that something like this happened.
No.
Obviously, we would love to go back and still have her in a physical form here,
Yeah.
and see, you know, what she can achieve. And she will have done so much, I know, in this physical world. But we can't change the fact that things happen. This is,
No.
it's a black and white. I can't change the fact that she's no longer with us. But what I can change is moving forward. What I can change is making sure that my kids are not defined by this traumatic event.
Yes.
That when people meet them, they don't see, oh, that's the child of the sister who passed away.
Yes.
I want them, and this is why I made sure, and I wanted to make sure that they still have their own identity, that they're not just the sister or of the you know, the
and
sister
that's
who
a
passed
really
away.
good point. But that, you know what, Lauren, that's you know, a real mindful, conscious place to be. But there may be some people that are still really living in their grief.
So
what could you say to those people that are living in their grief?
So if you're in living in grief, and it's not just about people, it could be losing your job, it could be losing a pet. There's lots of different ways of what people call grief. Whatever is right for you, I would say, if you feel you're completely in the darkness, don't forget that there is a switch and you can turn the light on. And
I love that.
It's a journey. And very often I tell my clients that it's like, even now we're in a lockdown, we've got to stay in. It's like we're on a train, and at the end of that train, the train has a destination. It doesn't matter if it's in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. We know that we're not going to be stuck in the house in this lockdown forever. So we just have to, while we're on that train, we need to know to learn how to adjust. And when we're on the train, we can look out the window, we can have dreams, I can close my eyes, I can still see my daughter, feel her, I can even talk to her if I want to. We have imagination, we have energy, we can do so much.
So when you just do hold up, because Lauren's actually, she has a book that's just recently come out. Is that right, Lauren? It's just recently come out.
Yeah.
So
well,
can you just hold it up for the video?
The book in itself has a little story. Yes.
So it says
the
Love,
book,
Light and Liora.
It says Love, Light and Liora, but I've called it also How to Move Forward when the Unthinkable Happened.
Wow.
The book in itself, the launch of the book was actually very strange, because the book was actually ready a year ago, but it needed a bit more editing, and I didn't feel it was the right time to get the book out. And I was waiting, and lots of people were waiting and saying, when is your book out? When is it going to be coming out? And I just trusted. I thought, you know what?
Right time.
When is the right time is the right time. I can't explain it, but when is the right time is the right time. Yeah. And literally the day before the lockdown happened, the book was launched. So
it's so weird, because we obviously we've known each other for quite a long time, but we haven't been in loads of contact. And I don't know what it was. Something just made me contact you, and I might have seen a post that you put on Instagram or something, and it just made me go, oh, you must come on my my podcast.
Well,
people.
It's going to be 4 years on Friday. It's going to be 4 years that Leo passed away.
How strange. So I was guided to contact you. So everyone conspired to get us together, right?
Yes. It's not, you know what? Like I say, she's no longer in the physical world, but she's still doing her work. And the fact that we just reconnected is just not coincidence. It's just,
and the sense I get now, if I see her in my mind, because those of you who don't know, listen to my episode 1. I'm actually a medium as well, and I can actually see her, and it's almost like a twinkle in her eye, like with a wink, like almost like that kind of personality that she would have had, and that's the sense I get from her energy. When you said it was like we got, yeah, exactly. She's so beautiful. So how can people get this book? How, you know, let's
so
tell people.
so you can get the book on Amazon. You can get at the moment the Kindle app. If you download the Kindle app, you can get the book. And the hard book copy, at the moment they're out of stock, just purely because due to the lockdown, we have to wait to make sure that it's safe to arrive.
People can get them on Amazon.
But
so people can buy it on Amazon.
You can get on Amazon the Kindle version, and the hard copy at the moment is you just have to wait due to lockdown, just on hold. There are some copies available with a publisher in Manchester, but you know, they can private message me if they want to.
Who's it published with, Lauren?
So it's Eye to Eye publisher.
Eye to Eye.
Yeah. So, it's just he has himself a story, and we connected. We met each other, some friends, and I thought, okay, that's the right person. I wanted a publisher who has a connection. And so that's it was meant to be.
So one of the things that Lauren does is even before Liora chose to move on to the next plane of existence when she was 20, she was already working and helping people release their fears. So tell, Lauren, tell us about that. Tell us about that work that you do.
So yes, I am a fear and phobia relief expert. Any fear, I just help children, adults, getting rid of their fear. If it's like fear of lift, fear of dogs, fear of flying, fear of holidays, fear of stickers, fear of eyes, whatever fear.
Yeah, fear of anything.
And
fear of cotton wool.
Yeah, fear of anything.
Yeah.
Fear of cotton wool, fear of holidays, fear of holidays. Yes, I use whatever technique, but I also help people releasing their pains. Now that people come to me also for grief, there's a whole range. At the end of the day, everything is sort of based on fear. If you have trust, if you trust that whatever is happening, you'll be able to go through, and you'll get stronger, and you can learn how to be more resilient, then you can let go of the fear. You don't have to hold on to fear.
And fear is, false evidence appearing real, isn't it? It's
exactly.
Like not really even real. It's just we've perceived it as something that could do something to us.
Yeah, and it comes at first as a protection, but then if it goes into, like you said, false appearance, of being real, it's a mind that is trying to trick us. It's a thought, and a thought can be changed, and
so how do you do that, Lauren?
If you know how to do it.
How do you do that?
So
obviously I know, but just tell our audience how you do that.
So it's all depending who is in front of me. I have to, if it's a little girl or if it's an adult, it's a bit different. I use art therapy. I use EFT, emotional freedom technique. I use emotrons, which is one of the best way that I like, fast way of releasing fear. I use body code, which I really like too. All those techniques are energy based, and sometimes NLP. It just depends who's in front of me, what's the best, and what's the person. Also, some people don't want certain technique, or they don't feel comfortable in using. So you have to adapt, and you have to adjust. And some people do want to get rid of their fear, but they have resistance subconsciously. So we need to address this. So,
and my journey of EFT started being afraid of spiders.
So
I thought, if I can clear the fear of I didn't want to release it. So I was like, oh my God, well, I don't want to even think about liking them, to be honest, let alone even being near them, right? But it's so interesting, because your irrational fear, so if anyone's listening to this, fear of spiders, obviously I'm not afraid of them anymore. But this was years and years ago. But it doesn't mean that you end up loving that thing. It doesn't mean you end up loving a dog, so for example, or anything, but you don't have that fear. And the fear is the irrational fight and flight, isn't it? Fear response that happens. And I definitely had that. I mean, to the point of I wouldn't even look in a cupboard just in case there could be, by possibility, a spider. And when I lived in London, I on my own in a flat, I would see one in the bathroom and I wouldn't use the bathroom. I literally would not use the bath. I'd shut the door, and that's irrational fear.
That's when it's
Right?
irrational,
So
and
that's when it takes over.
that's when it takes over. That's when
Yeah.
it actually, that's when it's a time to, okay, enough is enough. I
Yeah,
want to
that's
take the control back. I don't want to leave this. I don't want to
Yes.
give the control to the spider. I
Well, you
want to
can't
take the
live
control
like
back.
that. You
No.
can't live like that anyway. You
No.
can't go about your life like not
So,
opening a
yeah,
cupboard
I
door,
had,
going anywhere.
I worked with an elderly lady who was scared of escalator, and all her life had to go either by taxi somewhere, or
Yeah.
she would just cancel her meetings. So,
Wow.
and enough was enough, and she decided to, that's it now. I'm going to take control back, and I'm going to deal with this fear.
Yeah,
So
see, but it has to be that time when you just go, oh my goodness, I cannot live like this anymore. And that was obviously a stepping stone, as always this kind of stuff is. And that was my stepping stone to training EFT, and you know, and train people in EFT all those years ago. And so we, you know, we have these things. So if you're listening to this and you feel you have a fear, or you've experienced grief or loss or whatever it might have been, then Lauren might be somebody you feel drawn to help you acknowledge that and release it, so that you don't have to actually have that fear in your life anymore, and it might be worth a try. So how do they get hold of you?
So they can just go on my website, which is www.fear-busters.com, and they can just leave their email.
Busters.com. Busters.com. Okay, yeah.
And they can just leave their email address in the box, and they will have a free 20-minute phone call consultation with me.
Oh, fabulous. Yeah, yeah. So you don't have to commit. It's always better
to, when you want to clear a fear, you have to know if you connect with a person, if you feel comfortable. It's important to first connect and speak and explain what sessions are involving. And also, if they're happy to work with you, you can't just, it's a personal, it's, you know, it will change your life. So it has to, it's a journey.
And you've just got to decide, you've just got to decide whether you know, and I think having a 15 or 20-minute conversation with someone is really important. If somebody chooses to do that and they've got questions, they might have questions, because if you've had a fear all of your life, it's a tricky one to step into that and say, okay, right, this is the time, isn't it? Yeah, but this is definitely the time, right? Because there's going to be a lot of people.
Yes, because
this is going out now. This is going out now on the 28th of April 2020. But you may be hearing this on iTunes a bit later on. But this is going out on our social media and YouTube channels today. So this is the time that perhaps you're feeling the fear of survival. You're feeling that there's the fear of something outside of you that can get you. Right, Lauren? And so this might be the time to really
or
look
your anxiety, or your anxiety level is so high because you're stuck at home, you're not used to be at home all the time, you have all your children at home, you have your husband at home working, everything's sort of changed, and you may not have even thought that one day your house was your safety place to be. So we have to adjust, you have to, you know, so yes, if you, in the book, the first part of the book is the story, but the second part is a self-help book, is how you can start your journey to move forward, and they're very simple exercise.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Just start from somewhere.
So people could do that, so they could download it, or they could buy it.
So they can literally write in the book.
Oh, that's brilliant.
There's exercise. There's I left enough spaces. There's like so if people find that the first part is too sad, and because they've had a recent loss, and they can't read the first part of the book. The first part is the story. There's a chapter just on grief. They can skip that too, and they can go straight to how to move
self-help
forward
bit
and get started.
That's a really good point that you said that, Lauren, because it might be that by doing those exercises, so if you're listening to this and you kind of don't really want to read a story of grief, you're actually not just going to get that in that book. You are going to get actually self-help step-by-step processes to help you come to terms perhaps with what's happened. Yeah, that's really good.
So the exercise, the exercise relate to the story, but you can skip the story if you're not prepared to read because of the story, because obviously I'm not going to hide the fact that it is a sad story because we know the outcome. But if you are at a loss and you don't know how you can start moving forward, this is the first step.
Yeah. And what I do want to say as well, Lauren, to everybody is that, you know, when you are able to really come into your heart and just perhaps remember that person from a heart space and feel the energy of that person, you'll know that that person is never far away, and really that by just thinking about them, or a photograph or whatever that might be for you, to just know that they're really close to you. And it's really interesting because episode 1 tells about my spiritual awakening, and it was where, I won't go into the massive story here, but you can listen to it on episode 1. And essentially it's where someone very dear to me took their life. And of course, in that moment of deep, deep shock and grief, it was actually a boyfriend previously, and he was a friend at the time when he took his life, at the other side of the world. And so, you know, that grief, when you have an incredible amount of grief and shock, it's really difficult for your loved ones to come close. So if you can really help that and really start to feel that they're not actually gone, that they're just, you know, a veil away or just in the next doorway, I think it really helps. And I think if I'd had that help, then it would have been really helpful for me.
So if you think that it's a transition and that energy never dies, the memories never dies, the love never dies, no one is ever going to take the love of your dog, of your cat, of the person, even the job that you love, no one is going to destroy that love, and that is never going to be taken away. So
connection, isn't it?
It's that connection.
It's the connection that, you know, we're all part of the unified field. We're all part of source energy. It's just that we were playing a role as a human this lifetime, but we're all connected and there is no separation.
So,
Lauren, thank you so much for being here on the Spiritual Awakener. Just give us your website again so people can get hold of you.
So my website is www.fear-busters.com.
And your book is called?
The book is called How to Move Forward When the Unthinkable Happens, Love, Light, Liora.
Brilliant.
And just in the book, the day before Liora was rushed into hospital, Liora was just talking to me. We were having fun, imagining that we won the lottery. And she said if she did win the lottery, she would buy an ambulance. And because of that, or the minute she was in hospital, we started raising money.
I remember that. And so now you raise money.
We have the ambulance.
You've got an ambulance.
We raise money. And the ambulance, we raise money. We raised £55,000, and the ambulance is a proper ambulance, completely equipped. And
let me see.
Here you are.
And it's got a heart
Leora's name on it. It has Leora's name on it. And it is used in normal time. It is used at least 3 times a day in northwest London. And now it is used, I can't even tell you how many times at the moment.
No, it's been used a lot, So her memory, she's still here really, to be honest. It's not really a memory. Leora's still here. She's still doing her good work. She's still having fun. She's still being that light in the world. And so, oh my goodness, what a way to end this podcast, because I remember her, you know, it's a personal feeling for me as well, doing this interview, because I remember her, and you know, her light will shine on. So if you've really enjoyed this podcast, and if you've got a turning point or a spiritual awakening story you would like to share with me and my audience, I'd love to hear from you. So you can find me on susankennard.co.uk, across all social media of the same name, and of course on your normal podcast platform. So much love to you. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you on the next episode of the spiritual awakener.